All right, we've all seen a bunch of videos over the last few years where people are doing reviews and pushing lights by Olight. Everything from handheld lights to pistol lights and rifle lights. Olight makes a crap ton of different options, and there's so many people out there making videos with them that I decided it was probably time I should look into them myself. Not because I want to jump on the bandwagon, but because I am naturally distrusting of influencers on the internet, and I want to give you guys my honest opinion on the Olight lights. Specifically, we're going to take a look at the Warrior 3S today. This is not a paid advertisement or review. I paid the full whatever $130 for this light myself because I wanted to check it out and show you guys what it's all about. Now, Olight has given me a discount code for my viewers. That's going to be 360TS for 10% off through the Olight store. It's kind of weird how this came about. See, I bought this flashlight several months ago because I wanted to go ahead and do a review on it. Paid full price, and somewhere in between buying it and here within the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, Olight reached out to me about doing some testing on some of their products. They offered me a discount code for you guys. We got that all set up, and then they shipped out a couple other things, so there will be some other Olight videos coming in the future. As always, though, you can expect the same thing out of me, and that's going to be brutal honesty. No matter what it is that I'm reviewing here at this desk, I'm always going to give it to you like it is. So that's it. That's the disclaimer. Done, finished. Let's move forward with this review. Several months ago, the flashlight that I keep posted up at the back door of my house, it stopped charging. It crapped out completely. You plug it in and it looks like it's charging, but it does absolutely nothing. Now, I think I had that flashlight for about 2 years. It wasn't a very good one, honestly. It was just a cheap piece of crap from, I think it was Amazon. Nonetheless, I need a flashlight for the backyard. See, I've been doing some real redneck shit lately. I'm out there trying to make friends with either a raccoon or a possum. I don't really care. I'm trying to get them in to be friendly with me and become my pet. Don't judge me. Anyways, I needed a new flashlight, so it was time to do a little bit of research and find something that was going to work out for me, for my specific needs. Here's what I need. Adjustable brightness flashlight that is handheld and small enough to fit in my pocket. The other thing, the big must-have, is absolutely has to be rechargeable. The Warrior 3S, it is just right for everything that I need a flashlight for. It's a good flashlight for the junk drawer. It's a good flashlight for, I don't know, your glove box. It's a good flashlight for the range bag. It fits well in my hand, but also at the same time, it's small enough that I can put it in my pocket if I need to. Now, when this thing first came in, it did have a weird little pocket clip on it. I didn't like the way that it sat in my pocket, so the very first thing I did was pull it off and chuck that thing in the trash. Now, you may like the pocket clip. I didn't personally like the way that it sat in my pocket. I found it was a little hard to actually pull the flashlight out of the pocket, so I just had to do away with it. It also came with this sheath here. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of this either. It just kind of feels like something that got thrown together to add to the package, just to check off the box that it, came with one of these. I think it would have been a little bit better had they made some sort of more form-fitting Kydex type option, but whatever, that's fine. Honestly, what I would really like is something that I can attach a lanyard to for this flashlight, but I'll figure something out for it eventually. For right now, I just keep it just like this on the shelf by the back door. The casing for the flashlight, it is some sort of maybe anodized aluminum. It's fairly rugged. I've dropped it several times and I haven't had any problems where it's like scratched really deep or like broken any like pieces off or cracked or anything like that. It's still basically brand new. The other thing is the texture on it is really great. I feel like I get a really solid grip on it. It was pissing down rain here recently and I had to go out the back door because the dog was barking at something in the backyard, and my hands didn't feel like they were slipping on the flashlight at all, so that was pretty nice. The other thing that's cool is that it does have 2 buttons that you can use. So it has one button in the front, so you can kind of use it as a forward kind of flashlight, or if you want to hold it upside down, you can press the tail cap to turn it on. Now, these buttons are a little bit clunky. They could use a little bit of refinement, but they work really well. The front button is rubberized and it's got 2 sets of lights to indicate either how much battery there is or how bright the light is. Of course, I guess you could see how bright the light is with your eyes, but they felt it necessary to put an indicator on there. The brightness adjustments on this flashlight, they're definitely over the top. There's like 4 different brightness settings, and then there's like this turbo mode. I think that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2300 lumens. It's great because it is incredibly bright, and you can dial in your brightness from somewhat dim all the way to blinding sunlight. Unfortunately, though, they have made it somewhat complicated. I can press the rubberized button once and it turns on, and then I do like a quick click and it'll adjust the brightness all the way up from like 1 through 4, and then I have to do this weird half click on the rear cap to get it to go into the brightest setting. There's a lot of steps, like secret handshake type stuff that you have to do to move back and forth between brightnesses on this flashlight. Pretty much every time I use a flashlight, I just want to grab it, turn it on, see what's going on in the backyard or whatever the case may be, and turn it off. I don't really want to jump through a million hoops just to be able to get it to the brightness that I need. So what I've done is I've adjusted it up to the brightest setting, and that's just basically where I leave the flashlight all the time. What I would really like is just to have 2 settings on this flashlight, low and high. That's it. When I was a kid, my dad always had one of those big, monstrous, old school mag lights. Real simple, 1 button, on, off, that's it. Sure, they weren't very bright, and you know, they were the size of a brick. Not only that, but they used like, I don't know, $38 worth of batteries to power up. But that flashlight was reliable and it was easy to use. What Olight's trying to do here is they're trying to make like advanced flashlights, which I totally respect. But it's definitely more than I need. I just need a simple on, off, you know, high, low maybe. Personally, I could strip away all that extra stuff that the flashlight does down to just a simple on and off, and I'd be happy. Normally when we're talking about, you know, budget-friendly flashlights, we're talking about flashlights that are somewhat dim and have that, you know, weird kind of yellowish color to them. That's not the case with this flashlight. Now the low setting is fairly low. Of course it's supposed to be. But when you crank it up to, what is it, 2300 lumens, whatever the highest one is, like it's legitimately close to the brightness of the sun. Not only that, but the color of the light, which is important, it is a nice bright white color. It's not that dingy yellow. On the downside of it being as bright as it is that it tends to get pretty warm pretty fast. Now you are going to find that with any flashlight that gets as bright as this flashlight does. The brighter that they are, the more they're going to have a tendency to heat up. And so to combat that, Olight built this sensor into the front, which if it's on that high setting and it gets too close to something, it dims itself down. It's like a weird little safety feature. On the one hand, that can be kind of frustrating. If I'm out at the back window and I'm shining it through the window trying to see what's going on in the backyard, it senses that glass and it wants to dim itself. So of course, at that point, I can't see what's going on in the backyard. I got to do this weird like angle it kind of thing to be able to see. It's frustrating sometimes. On the other hand, I understand that if it didn't have that sensor built into it, and if the flashlight were in my pocket and it accidentally turned on, probably wouldn't feel very good when it heated up to full temperature inside my pocket. A lot of these really bright LED lights can get so hot that they can actually burn your skin. So that's not the most pleasant thing on earth. So it's kind of cool that they did build a sensor into the front of it to tell when something's a little too close. So yeah, there's good and there's bad points to the Warrior 3S. It's a pretty cool flashlight. You definitely want to go check out the Olight website. I will leave a link down below with the discount code if you want to go see some of the things that they have available. They have adapters so that you can go ahead and mount this to, say, your rifle. And they also have pressure switches that can mount to this rear cap so that this can go from being just a handheld light to a weapon mounted light if you really need one. Honestly, it's a really versatile little flashlight. The end cap system on this flashlight, well, most of the Olight products are magnetic. And so the charger is actually really cool because you just connect it and it charges. You don't have to worry about plugging a plug into the flashlight and possibly damaging the charging port. I think that may be what happened with my old flashlight. I'm not going to point the finger at either of my kids, but I think one of them may have plugged it in to recharge it. They may have jacked up the charging port. That's not something that you have to worry about when you're using something that has magnetic charging. Speaking of charging, I'm actually really impressed with how long the battery has lasted on this flashlight. Every single time that the dog has to go outside in the evening and it's dark, I use this flashlight to make sure that there's nothing out there in the backyard that she's going to go apeshit over. If I hear a weird sound in the middle of the night, this is the flashlight that I grab and check things out with. When I go out back and I'm checking to see if there's any raccoons that want to come out and be my friend, I'm grabbing my Olight. 7 days a week when I go outside in the evening time, I'm using this flashlight just to survey the backyard and make sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be. After a month of regular use, the indicator is showing me that it still has 75% left. And that's me using it literally every day. Not just every day, but I'm using it every day on its highest setting. In the nearly 4 months that I've had this flashlight, I charged it once when I first got it, and I've charged it once since then. So 4 months, and I've charged it basically one time. I've had it go down to 25%, plugged it in, charged it back to 100. All in all, for what it is, the Olight is a good product, but it does, of course, have its drawbacks. Everything does, though, right? I mean, this thing, it's not a Surefire, it's not a Streamlight, but it also comes in at a hell of a lot lower cost than those two other options. If you're going to buy an Olight, just make sure you go into it with the right expectations. There's this argument that constantly goes back and forth about how you should always buy American, and part of me agrees with that. I get these comments all the time on any of my HoloSun videos. You know, people want to jump down and, oh, you should always buy American, buy a Trigicon, buy a blah, 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 you know. I think you should buy American when it's appropriate. I think you should buy American when you can. I think you should buy American when you can afford it, and sometimes you just can't. The people that are leaving these comments, they tend to carry a Glock and drive a Toyota, and they're sitting there typing those comments out on their Samsung phone while they're watching, I don't know, a TV that's also made by Samsung. Buy American when you can and when you can afford it. For me, personally, do I need to spend $300 on a Streamlight to go out in my backyard and look to see if there's any raccoons or possums back there? No, that's just excessive. Why would I do that when I could spend $120 and buy this Olight? I mean, hell, at that price, I can have one in the junk drawer, I can have one posted up at the back door, I can have one in my range bag, I can have, you know, one in the glove box of every one of my cars. Now, as I get more use with this flashlight, I will update if necessary. If a situation arises where it starts having charging issues or the battery is not lasting as long, if the color or brightness of the light changes, if it craps out at all, believe me, I will make an update video and I will post it as soon as humanly possible. If you're in the market for a reasonably priced flashlight, the Olight could be for you. At these prices, you really can't go wrong. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.